have a really funny story about that. So, when I went to see Sid originally, I went because George's partner at the time, John Enright, had asked George to come up and listen to Sid to see what he was doing, basically to find out what technique and process Sid was using. And George and I were dating at the time, and so he said, well, do you want to go? And I'm like, okay. So we went up to Salt Spring to listen to Sid and find out what he was doing, his techniques. And, so I met him and I listened to him and I was like, whatever, I couldn't make heads or tails of what he was up to, and I didn't really like the people that were listening to him. So I was like, they were too positive. No, they were too positive. I didn't like that. I thought it was unrealistic.
Linda would say, I'd like to smack him.
But what happened is that a friend of ours, we sent a friend of ours, Roger Mills, up there, and because we couldn't see the technique that Sid was using, and so we asked Roger, who was the head of a community mental health center in Eugene, Oregon at the time, and we sent him up, and fast forward 6 months later, I met up with Roger, and he looked really different. And I said, what have you been up to? What's going on with you? And he says, well, I've been going to listen to Sid, and, it's really made an impact on me. And I'm like, yeah, I can tell. And so I decided that I wanted the same kind of effect, the impact that Roger had. So in spite of the fact that I had no idea what Sid was talking about, and the people were highly annoying, I went back to Salt Spring and I sat in the front row, and I was going to get some of what Roger got, because I figured if Roger could get it, I could get it. Well, it took me a while. I mean, it was really difficult for me because I'd sit there and I'd be totally confused about what Sid was. I'd be like, what is he going on about? And he just contradicted himself, and everybody else is getting it and I'm not. And then the lecture would be over and I'd be left with me, nothing new. I call Roger, I'd say, Roger, and I'm not getting it. He says, well, you're not listening. And I said, yes, I am. I'm listening as hard as I can. He said, I know, but you're listening to yourself talk about what's wrong with Sid and what you don't like, and you're analyzing, and your head is filled with thinking. I'm going, well, that's true. Thought about so at some point, my mind quieted down and I heard something. I got affected profoundly, and it was like I liked it. So I was like up in the front. Anytime Sid was delivering a seminar or a lecture, I would drive up from San Francisco where we were living, and I'd sit in the front row, and it would be like, oh my God, this is amazing. I get so high, I'd walk into walls, literally. I would just get so outside myself. I would be so blitzed out, and I became an addict. And so I did that for a couple years, and then Sid kicked me off the island. He said, go away and don't come back. And I'm like, no, no. What do you mean go away and not come back? It's like, go away and not come back. And it's like, and essentially he said, you go find it for yourself. And it was like, and I was like, oh yeah, he sees that I'm basically using him to get high. And I was. And not that I wasn't getting understanding, I was getting understanding, I was getting a lot of insight. But what I also was getting was unbelievably high without drugs. I was getting euphoric. He says, no, you don't come back, you go find, and at the time I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? I don't know that I can do this. I don't know that I can find this for myself. And I was like, but it's like, what am I going to do? Like, come back on the island after he told me not to? Like, I wasn't going to do that. So I went home and I'm like, okay, find it for yourself. What does that look like and what does that mean? Well, it was like the horse thing. It was like my feeling and my well-being was completely tied to Sid. And when he said go away, it's like I had to see how to find it on my own, and I did. And it was brilliant that he did that. Absolutely brilliant. Now, after a while, he let me come back to, he let me, once I learned that lesson, he let me come back. But it was beautiful because it was like he didn't want people being dependent on him. Because he's like, what are you doing? You have this in you. What do you keep looking for me for to find this feeling? Find your own feeling within you on your own. Your own mental, connect with your own mental health without using me as a go-between. Connect to your own, good feeling, the high that you want. Connect to your own feelings in you that give you that high. Don't use me as an in-between.